Before we embark on this mind-bending journey into the nature of reality, a crucial reminder: we are, quite literally, what we consume. Every idea, every story, every piece of information shapes the fabric of our minds and spirits. In this remarkable age, with just a tap, we can access the greatest minds and deepest wisdom humanity has ever known. The question is, what will you choose to feed your mind and soul? Let these ideas become the good company your mind keeps, guiding you toward a more informed and empowered existence. Now, let's begin our journey together. Have you ever looked at the world around you and wondered, is this truly real? Or is what I'm experiencing merely a filtered, interpreted version of reality, a grand illusion crafted by my own mind? For centuries, philosophers, scientists, and mystics have grappled with this fundamental question. We walk through life assuming our senses provide a direct, unfiltered window to the world. We see a tree, we hear a bird, we feel the warmth of the sun, and we take it as objective truth. But what if our perception is not a window, but a veil? A sophisticated, intricate veil that shapes, colors, and even invents the reality we believe we inhabit. What if the very fabric of our existence is far more subjective, far more malleable than we dare to imagine? This isn't just a thought experiment for late-night discussions. It's a profound inquiry with radical implications for how we live, how we interact, and how we understand our place in the cosmos. If our reality is merely a construct of our perception, then what is truly out there beyond the veil? And what does this mean for our pursuit of truth, our understanding of consciousness, and our very sense of self? To begin unraveling this mystery, we must first confront the limitations of our own perception. Our senses, remarkable as they are not perfect recorders of reality. They are highly specialized instruments, evolved to help us survive and reproduce in a specific environment. Take sight, for example. We only perceive a tiny sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum, what we call visible light. Beyond that, there are radio waves, microwaves, infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays, a vast ocean of information that our eyes simply cannot detect. A snake sees in infrared, a bee sees in ultraviolet. Their realities, based on their sensory apparatus, are fundamentally different from ours. So even at the most basic level, our perception is inherently limited, a mere snapshot of a much larger unseen reality. This idea is not new. Ancient philosophers have pondered it for millennia. Perhaps the most famous analogy comes from Plato with his allegory of the cave. Imagine prisoners chained in a cave since birth, facing a wall. Behind them, a fire burns, and between the fire and the prisoners, people carry objects, casting shadows on the wall. The prisoners, having never seen the real objects, believe the shadows are reality. For them, the shadows are their entire world. Plato argued that we, too, are like these prisoners, mistaking the shadows of our perceptions for the true forms of reality. The philosopher's journey, then, is to break free from these chains, to turn towards the light, and to glimpse the true forms beyond the perceived shadows. Centuries later, René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, famously questioned everything he thought he knew. In his Meditations on First Philosophy, he wondered if an evil demon, an all-powerful deceiver, might be manipulating his senses, making him believe in a world that didn't exist. His famous conclusion, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, was his only certainty, the undeniable existence of his own thinking self. But even for Descartes, the external world remained a matter of inference, not direct experience. Our perception, he argued, could be fundamentally flawed, a sophisticated dream from which we might never truly awaken. Modern science, particularly neuroscience and quantum physics, has only deepened this philosophical rabbit hole. Neuroscientists tell us that our brains don't simply receive information from our senses, they actively construct our reality. What we perceive as a seamless, objective reality is in fact a highly personalized simulation, a predictive model generated by our brains based on sensory input and past experiences. As the neuroscientist Anil Seth argues, we are all, in a sense, hallucinating our reality. Our brains are constantly making educated guesses about what's out there, and what we experience is the best guess, not necessarily the objective truth. This explains why optical illusions work, or why two people can witness the same event and have vastly different recollections. Their brains are constructing different realities. Then there's the mind-bending world of quantum physics. At the subatomic level, particles don't seem to have a definite state until they are observed. The act of observation itself appears to influence reality. This has led some physicists to suggest that consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping the universe, or at least the reality we experience. While the interpretations of quantum mechanics are still hotly debated, the idea that our perception is not merely passive, but actively participates in creating reality is a profound one. It challenges the very notion of an objective, independent reality existing outside of our minds. Is the moon really there when no one is looking? According to some interpretations of quantum physics, it's a valid question. Beyond science and Western philosophy, many spiritual traditions and indigenous cultures have long held a similar understanding of reality as a fluid, interconnected, and often subjective experience. In many African spiritual systems, for instance, the world is not seen as a collection of separate, inanimate objects, but as a living, breathing web of relationships, infused with spirit and consciousness. The boundaries between the physical and the spiritual, the subjective and the objective, are often blurred. Rituals, ceremonies, and communal practices are designed to shift perception, to access different layers of reality, and to connect with the unseen forces that shape existence. The San people of southern Africa, for example, have a rich tradition of trance dance, where altered states of consciousness allow them to perceive and interact with the spirit world, which for them is as real as the physical world. This isn't seen as hallucination, but as a different mode of perception, a way of lifting the veil. Similarly, Eastern philosophies like Buddhism emphasize the concept of Maya, often translated as illusion. This doesn't mean the world isn't real, but that our ordinary perception of it as solid, separate, and permanent is an illusion. Through practices like meditation, one can transcend these illusions and experience a deeper, more interconnected reality. The goal is not to escape reality, but to perceive it more clearly, to see beyond the veil of our conditioned minds. The spiritual journey, in many traditions, is fundamentally a journey of perceptual transformation. The problem, then, is not that our perception is flawed, but that we are often unaware of its limitations and its power. We mistake the map for the territory, the shadow for the substance. In our modern, digitally saturated world, this problem is exacerbated. We spend more time interacting with mediated realities, screens, algorithms, curated feeds, than with the raw, unfiltered world. Our perceptions are increasingly shaped by external forces, by what algorithms decide we should see, hear, and think. This can lead to a sense of detachment, a feeling that something is missing, even when we are surrounded by information and connection. We become passive consumers of a prepackaged reality, rather than active co-creators of our own experience. The veil thickens, not because reality is inherently hidden, but because we are less attuned to its deeper frequencies. So, what's the solution? It's not about rejecting our senses or denying the existence of an external world. It's about cultivating a more conscious, nuanced relationship with our perception. It's about understanding the veil rather than being trapped by it. It's about actively engaging with reality in ways that sharpen our senses, expand our awareness, and allow us to glimpse the deeper truths that lie beyond our ordinary filters. It's about becoming active participants in the creation of our own reality rather than passive recipients. Here's how we can begin to lift the veil and truly inhabit a richer, more authentic reality. Practice sensory awareness. Dedicate time each day to simply observe. Listen to the sounds around you without judgment. Notice the subtle textures, colors, and light in your environment. Engage your sense of smell and taste with intention. This practice, often called mindfulness, brings you into the present moment and helps you perceive the richness of the world that often goes unnoticed. Question your assumptions. When you encounter a strong opinion, a seemingly obvious truth, or a deeply ingrained belief, pause and ask, is this truly real, or is it my perception? Explore alternative viewpoints. Read widely, engage in respectful debate, and challenge your own cognitive biases. This intellectual friction helps to thin the veil of preconceived notions. Engage in creative expression, whether it's writing, painting, music, dance, or any other form of art. Creative expression forces you to externalize your inner world and interact with reality in a new way. It's a powerful tool for perceptual transformation, allowing you to see and shape reality from a different perspective. Seek altered states of consciousness responsibly. This doesn't necessarily mean illicit substances. It can involve practices like deep meditation, breathwork, lucid dreaming, or even intense physical activity. These practices can temporarily shift your ordinary perception, offering glimpses of reality from a different vantage point. Always approach such practices with caution, respect, and guidance if necessary. Connect with nature. Spend time in natural environments, forests, mountains, oceans. Disconnect from artificial stimuli and allow your senses to recalibrate to the rhythms of the natural world. Many spiritual traditions emphasize nature as a direct conduit to deeper realities, a place where the veil is thinnest. Embrace paradox and ambiguity. Reality, especially at its deepest levels, is often paradoxical and resists simple categorization. Instead of seeking definitive answers, learn to be comfortable with uncertainty and ambiguity. This open-mindedness allows you to perceive more complex and nuanced truths. By consciously engaging with our perception, by questioning the filters through which we experience the world, and by actively seeking deeper truths, we don't just understand reality, we begin to truly inhabit it. We move beyond the veil of our conditioned minds and step into a richer, more vibrant, and more authentic existence. It's a journey of awakening, a journey that reveals the profound power we each hold to shape our own reality. And that, my friends, is a journey worth embarking on. Remember, the more you consume and reflect on these ideas, especially in the quiet moments before sleep, the more deeply they will integrate into your being, empowering you to navigate this complex world with clarity and purpose.